Hey boys, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys are having a good day so far. Today we're going to be talking about some mechs. Mechazor, right? This is Immortal Vanguard, and we got some Mechazor changes. Now, before we talk about the changes, I just want to let you guys know that there were two other cards that came out this week that I missed, and I'm just not going to go over them. We'll talk about them in the expansion when the expansion finally comes out, but I want to keep this video strictly mech related. So we have 3 neutral mechs, and we have a mech for every faction. Now, before we talk about those mechs, let's scroll down and talk about the mech update for Immortal Vanguard. We have Mechazor here. At this point, you guys should have seen all the robotic build minions and are probably wondering, with this war tech, where are the mechs? Well, this week we'll be focusing on the brand new mechs coming out with Immortal Vanguard. Before we dive into the spoilers, we have a few mech changes we'd like to make with the expansion, including changes to Mechazor himself, and a change to how the process of completing Mechazor works in the game. These changes will allow us to better integrate mechs into Duelyst and allow us to create new exciting cards to enhance your mech arsenal. So, Mechazor update. Mechazor update number 1. Chassis of Mechazor, the least played Mechazor. He was changed from a 5-4 to a 2-4 with Force Field with Opening Gambit. Progress Mechazor build by 20%. That's it. It can now be targeted by spells, which is important. Before, you weren't able to target it with any spells. Now you can target it with spells. You know what? A 4 statted minion 2-4 Force Field is kind of like Night Watcher. You know, it's a mech Night Watcher. So that's kind of cool. You know what? Force Field's still kind of hard to remove. We'll see if it sees play or not. Not really sure where it's going to land, but I'm happy that I can now hit Chassis with spells. Buff spells or spells to remove it. So this is going to be really nice. Moving down to the Big Daddy himself, Mechazor got a few changes. Mechazor has been changed from a 7 mana to a 4 mana minion. And that's really big when we talk about some of these cards coming up. Its stats have been changed from an 8-8 to a 6-6, and now it has Airdrop, Force Field, Frenzy, and Range. If you guys notice, they added one more keyword in there, and that is Force Field, which is awesome. And they took out something very big off of him. You can now target him with spells, just like Chassis. So he doesn't have the cannot be targeted by any spells anymore. So this is really cool. You can now remove Mechazor with anything besides Chromatic Hold or Light Benders. So really, really happy that now we have something to answer Mech. Mech is cheaper though, and now we have quite a few ways to get him out. But we're going to keep going down because there were some changes. Have you ever felt weird playing more mechs after they destroyed your Mechazor? Another change we're doing is allowing you to deploy multiple Mechazors, which is super big. After your Mechazor build progress reaches 100%, cards that build Mechazor will contribute to the process of another Mechazor. Now, every time you hit 100% build progress, a new Mechazor is ready to hit the battlefield. So this is cool. So now we can have more than one mech in a game, and believe me, they made it really easy to get more than one mech in a game. So, moving over, we are going to talk about some of these cards. I am going to, throw this up here now. We're just gonna have this beautiful background as we talk about these cards. And I have a lot of notes on these cards, so I want to bring them up real quick, and we'll just kind of talk about these cards as we go. So, the first card we're going to talk about is a Songhai card. I'm not going to do these cards how they were released. I'm going to do them I'm going to do factions first, and then we'll go over the 3 neutrals at the end. One of the neutrals we're probably going to have to talk about before we get there because a lot of cards mention him, or a lot of cards would go with him. Now, the first card we're going to talk about is actually a 2-piece card. This is a Songhai card. This is a Dusk Rigger. He's a 3 mana 2/3 mech with Backstab 2. Whenever this backstabs, put a Mechazor progression into your action bar, and the Mechazor progression is a 0 mana spell with Progress Mechazor build by 20%. So, the first thing you may note is that this guy actually does not build Mechazor when you play him. I think most of the mechs that we're going to talk about today, they don't build Mechazor, which is weird, which is kind of cool. So they all do something a little bit different to help you though. So let's talk about his mana, right? He's a 3 mana card, 2/3. That's not good. And the reason this isn't good is because Songhai has a very congested 3 mana spot. That's their sweet spot when you're playing Songhai. Like, every faction has their sweet spot where, like, that's the mana where it's going to be hard to build because you want to put in all these cards. And now Songhai has so many solid 3-drops. So he's a 3-drop, and he has a body of a Kaido Assassin for 1 extra mana. And now Kaido Assassin is already seeing it getting cut here and there. Like, we've been seeing him get cut for Scroll Bandits. So you know what, maybe we'll see Duskrigger. If you can get him to go off a few times, you can build Mechazor pretty easily. Granted, you do get a 0 mana spell, and people were talking about maybe Mantra, but let's be real, not going to get played in Mantra. It's not going to happen. He might not even be played in Mechazor. I think this is one of the least impressing Mechazor pieces that I have for you guys today, which is why I really want to start with it. But if you can get it going, it's nice. And the fact that they're showing backstab, they're giving backstab support. Well, in this card itself, they're giving 2 things support. They're giving the Mech Tribe support, and they're giving backstab support, which is super important. So, you know what, maybe we'll see this. If not, maybe it'll be in a backstab deck. I doubt people would run this in backstab without Mech. But, you know what, put a killing edge on it, and you get card draw. So that's pretty cool. Some key to note with this card is if you do manage to play the Mechazor progression, you can Lore Master, or what is it, Alkaline Lore Master, something like that. You can Lore Master out the 3/1 that copies the last spell played, and then you can get another one back in hand, which is pretty cool. And then you can play it again that same turn, and maybe even get a Mechazor out that turn, depending on everything you played. But you know what? I don't really know where to put this card. Like I said, I think it's maybe one of the least impressive Mech cards. I'm sure some of the Songhai guys are gonna find a way to make this card broken. So we'll see what happens with it. I'm really happy that, you know what, we're getting these Mech cards, and I'm not a super big fan of Mechazor, but I'm glad to see some more support for just existing factions in the game, or not factions, tribes. I'm sorry. So. Moving on. Alrighty, here we go. We got Lyonar next. This is Oakenheart. He is a 5 mana 4/5 with Opening Gambit. Opening Gambit progresses Mechazor build by 20%, which is important. And then your other Mech minions have +1/+1, so it has an Anthem effect, which is awesome. So this is basically a better Feraloo for Mechs. Feraloo is good itself, but this is a little bit stronger than that. And then it also progresses your Mechazor build, so it really fits with that deck. Now you can even play like a Zoo or a Swarm Mech deck and actually throw this guy down late game and kind of buff everything. The problem with Mechs most of the time is that you're playing these really weak bodies just to get that Mechazor progress. So now you can have those like weak bodies on the board, and you know, you can probably buff them with Afterblazes or Divine Bond, even though you're probably not running it in the deck. And now you have this guy late game where you can throw him down and, you know, get that Anthem effect, so you can get those, you know, 3/3 cannons or those 4/4 swords, which are really nice with Frenzy. So I really like this card. I definitely think it's going to see play. I think it just allows your smaller body Mechazor minions to trade more efficiently and a lot more better than before. I really like this card, and I think it's definitely going to see play. Other than that, I really don't have a lot to talk about it. You know, it's a pretty cool card. I think it's like a 4/5 body strong. I like cards that have like a bigger butt than attack, because it can take a little bit more damage, and like that Anthem effect is super important. So you might want to play this card a little bit safer than aggressive, just because you want that Anthem effect to stay on board. Alright guys, so on to our next card. Our next card is a Abyssian Mech. This is Nightmare Operant. It's a 2 mana 3/2 minion with Dying Wish. Shuffle a Mechazor into your deck. This is the most exciting card from the mechs that were released this week, and that's just my opinion. I love this card. There's so many things to talk about, so let's just hop in and start with its mana cost. It's 2 mana. That's awesome. Right now, I think Abyssian has the weakest 2 mana plays. They had Ooze for a little bit. We lost Ooze to Thunderhorn, and I don't think we're going to see Ooze anymore anyway, just because Creep doesn't see a lot of play, and Ooze is kind of it's not that great of a minion anymore. So now we kind of have Phantasm, and that's about it. Unless you're playing Swarm, where you can play like Gloom Chasers. So this really fits in any other deck that's not Swarm. So I really like this, and this might even see play in Swarm. This card, I'm just going to move straight to its ability. Dying Wish, shuffle a Mechazor into your deck. This card is going to see play in every single Abyss deck. There's no reason for you not to play this card in your Abyss deck. Abyss has, like I said, weak 2-drops. This is a decent 2-drop. It has an amazing Dying Wish. Mechazor is just, like I said, he's strong. And he could be, Mechazor could be a second win con in any deck that you try to make. Now, I'm not even going to give you a specific a deck, because like I said, it could be ran in any single deck and be either the win con in mech decks themselves or other Abyss decks. This could be a win con. In a Dying Wish deck, this could be a win con, like a second win con. So you know what, we'll see where it goes. I think this card fits really well with Mauve and Dying Wish, obviously, because it has the Dying Wish, and then the fact that you can kill it off with Mauve's BBS and then get a 4/4 Fiend out of it and shuffle a Mechazor into your deck. I did not say this, but or I did not say this yet, but I think this is the first card that adds a card to your deck. I could be wrong, but I think it is. I saw a few people talking about it, and I haven't really looked around the game, or not the game, but I haven't looked in my collection too much to be like, well, let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then also to note, I'm just going to say this now, a lot of the cards we're going to talk about, I may fail to mention that a lot of them don't give Mechazor progression. I think I said that already. This card does not give Mechazor progression, so keep that in mind when you're playing it, but it gives you a Mechazor period, so that's still pretty good. Other cards that you're going to get value out of this would be like Consuming Rebirth. Consuming Rebirth in this is going to be nuts. Add a Mechazor into your deck. Bring it back as a 4/3. That's going to be beautiful. Or you can Keeper the Value this, or Keeper the Veil. Keeper the Veil normally doesn't hit, like, you don't want it to hit 2-drops. When you see Keeper, you see it in Magmar mostly, and they're normally bringing back, you know, like Fun Steel Defenders and War Beasts and things like that. But now you can kind of play Keeper in Abyss if you really wanted to and bring back a good 2-drop, which is kind of weird because that's awesome. Bringing back a 2-drop that shuffles Mech into your deck is absolutely beautiful. Playing this guy in Gauntlet's going to be nice. Like, this is an instant pickup in any Gauntlet pick. I don't care what the rest of the picks are, you're picking this card every time because it gives you a win con in your deck, even if you did not pick one up in your draft. I just love this card. I'm really excited to see this card played. Like I said, I think it's going to be played in probably every single Abyss deck. Now, moving on off of this guy, and I know you guys like, oh my god, I just love that card. I know you guys probably don't want to see that card anymore, so let's keep going. Moving on to our Magmar card. This is Sesamoid, something like that. It's a 2-mana 3/1 Mech. With whenever you summon a Mech minion from your action bar, both players draw a card. So they're basically pushing Decimus Mech decks, or Deci Mech decks, which is pretty cool because a lot of top tier players have been playing it. I've seen it on ladder, definitely. And you know what? This just kind of pushes that even more. They really want, you know, Starhorn to be a contender. Ragnorak kind of has his thing with the eggs, and they're, you know, believe me, a lot of people playing that right now. There's that Ragnorak combo egg deck where you can just combo off and deal like 25 damage in a turn. So now we might see Starhorn. That might actually, in this next meta coming up, might be the least played Magmar general, which is weird to think about. You know what? I'm probably wrong, but like, if you know, if Starhorn becomes good with Deci Mech, that could be a possibility. So this card is awesome. This is going to make, like, Replicant with this is going to be good. We haven't talked about Replicant yet. We'll talk about that card when we get there, and then you'll kind of see why it's good. So kind of remember it now. Replicant's one of our neutral cards. So I'm really excited with this card. You know what? It's definitely going to see play. It's definitely going to combo with Decimus. Like, oh my god. And it's a good, you know what? On the top of all of that, it's a very good 2-drop. A 3/1 isn't bad. You know what? That's big damage early game. If you want to push in, deal 3 damage, get some good trades here and there, or you want to keep it on the board, you know, hide it in the back until you play your Decimus. Granted, it is 1 health. It does die to every ping ability in the game, but has 3 attack. So you know what? You got to take it. But yeah, that's this card. Let's keep moving on. Like I said, there's really nothing to talk about it. It just combos with Decimus, and that's where it's really going to see play. Moving on to our next card. Now this, Yeah, you know what? I said in the beginning that the first card was probably my like least favorite card out of all of them, or I think it's like the least impressive, but I think this one really is the least impressive. Definitely. Sorry, my voice is killing me. This is Vetruvian Silica Weaver. It's a 5-mana 4/4 with opening gambit. Progresses Mechazor build by 40%. Let me find my notes. Alright, so let's just start off by saying this card is very you know, it's and I'll tell you why it's So for 5 mana, you're basically only playing this card. You don't really care it's about its body. It's a 5-mana 4/4. That's trash. It's gonna die by War Beast. It's gonna die by Lava Slasher. So it's not that great, and it's a 4/4, which is like an body. You know, I'd rather it be like a 5/4 or a 4/5, but 4/4 But its ability is okay. The reason it's only okay is because for 5 mana, you could play 2 Helms and a Cannon. You could just play lower mechs that just progress faster with 5 mana than Weaver can. So that's really not that great. So would you rather just play like just 2 mechs and a Cannon that turn, or a Silica Weaver? Plus something another big thing is that this card is 5 mana. What does Vet play for 5 mana? 2 big cards. Blood of Air, which they're definitely going to play. And the last one is Superior Mirage, which is a card that's being seen played a lot. So, is this card really going to fit for 5 mana? Are people really going to play it instead of just playing lower curved Mechazors? We'll see. Or Mechazor, mech pieces, not Mechazors. Mech pieces. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Also with this card, I think people were also posting in the forums that what if you only need 20% to finish Mechazor? Where does the other 20% go towards? It just goes towards another build. So, you know, you'll finish out at 100 and then you'll be at 20 already. So, I don't know how I feel about this card. I just think it's That's really all I can really put it. But it could see some interesting deck building, maybe. We'll see what happens. If we get a card that like lower mech pieces, we'll see how that goes. Also to note, this card does not never mind. Nope. Never mind. I was gonna say something stupid, but we're just gonna keep moving on. So, next card. We're moving on to Vanar. This is our last faction card. This is Echo Deliverant. He is a 6-mana 6/4 with whenever you summon another mech, summon a copy of it nearby. So, first thing to say is that it does not progress Mechazor builds, so that's something important. It's a 6-mana 6/4, not the greatest of stats, but its ability, kind of good. Whenever you summon another mech, summon a copy of it nearby. Alright, so the first thing you're thinking is, yes, more progression towards Mechazor because I get a copy of it. It's actually not how it works. Opening Gambit only triggers when you summon things out of your hand, so that progression you won't really get. But if you get a Cannon on the board, you know what? You're getting another ranged unit. It's an okay card. It does seem strong for getting a Mechazor and doubling up on a Mechazor, so like, if you play Mechazor, you get another Mechazor, so that's really cool. So you can get 2 Mechazors. It kind of reminds me of Alter Rex, but I think this one's better than Alter Rex because it just summons it on the field. Alter Rex just puts it in your hand, so it's not bad. It also seems pretty cool with creating an army of replicants, which is something we haven't got to yet. It's actually our next card, and you guys will see what that is when we get there. But that's really it with this card. I think it's just going to combo with putting out more Mechazors on the field. And then it's also going to combo if you have like cards with like keyword abilities. You'll see another card that we're going to talk about later on as well. And we'll just talk about it when we get there. But yep, that's Echo. It's just an okay body. Good ability if you can get Mechazor on the field like that turn somehow. We'll see. You basically want to play it on a turn that you can summon Mechazor because then you can get 2 mechs on the field at once. And granted, you could also get a copy of the mech piece that you used to summon that Mechazor. So if you summon a Helm, you get 2 Helms and 2 Mechazors. Keep that in mind. Moving on to our next card. Time to move on to some of our neutrals. Now we're going to start out with Our first neutral, which is common. This is a 2-mana 2/2 Mech. This is Replicant. Opening Gamut, draw another Replicant from your deck. You heard that, boys. From your deck. This is a deck thinning card. Can you believe they added that? I cannot. It's about time we have something like this, though. In all seriousness, deck thinning is pretty cool. We're able to kind of pull exactly what we want. Also to note, it does not add progression to your Mechazor build, so you cannot just keep pulling them and adding progression to your Mechazor. That'd kind of be a little bit broken, and everyone will run this. This is still a really good card. If you need to, pause the video now, go back, look at the other cards that we talked about, and see why this card's going to be good. You know, it's going to be good with Oakenheart because you're going to play this, and then if you have Oakenheart in the field, it's going to be a 3/3, and then you can play, if you have enough mana, you can play the other one. They're 3/3s, and you're just going to keep playing 3/3s. So it's not bad. This guy might see play. I think, to be honest, he's going to see play in more like swarm aggro decks, because in aggro, you tend to burn through your hand pretty quick. So this guy's going to allow you to keep your hand kind of refilled and have another body to, you know, either buff things, or buff it, or, you know, just put another thing on the battlefield to punch him in the face. I think that's where it's mainly going to see play. It might see play in Mech, but you know what, I don't really know. I think if you added progression towards Mechazor, it would definitely see play, but the fact that it doesn't, it just kind of, this card is a big piece to some combo decks that are going to come in the future. I can almost promise you, because it's the first card that allows us to draw another card from our deck. That's sweet. Or it's kind of like it's kind of like a tutor effect, except you're tutoring the same card. I don't really know how to put it. I like this card. It's definitely going to see play, and I think we're definitely going to have some fun combo decks with this guy in the future. Let's keep moving on. Moving on. Next card. This is another neutral card. This is a Deceptive Bot. It's a 4-mana 4/5 with, whenever this minion destroys an enemy, summon a different Mech minion from your deck nearby. Another card that pulls cards from your deck. Oh my god. It's great. I like it. I love it. This card is definitely going to see play 100%. And there's a few reasons why. First off, let's talk about its stats. 4-mana 4/5. Very fair stats. It's got a little bit bigger of a butt. It's a little bit harder to kill. Doesn't instantly die to War Beast or Lava Slasher, which is really big. Doesn't die to Plasma Storm, which is really big. And then if you can just get it to survive for one turn, you go and hit something, oh my. Okay, think of it like this. If you're playing Abyssian, going back to the Abyss card we're talking about, that thing adds a Mechazor to your deck. So you could potentially pull Mechazor out of this guy, which is pretty cool. And no, it does say a different Mech minion from your deck nearby, so you cannot pull, if you have multiple copies of this, you cannot pull another one out your deck. So I like this guy a lot. 100% gonna see play. I'm sure somebody's gonna find some combo with him. And what this does is, let me say this, what this does is, this card allows you to pull a specific Mech out of your deck if you really want to. Kind of how people were doing with Azor summoning, where like, they only ran like Skywings, the Dragon Larks, and like some other stuff to pull those specific cards out of their deck. Sometimes I talk too fast and I need to slow it down. So this guy, if you're only playing like, if you want to add these and then like the Abyss ones into your deck, you can play this guy, kill something, and then pull that Abyss card and then play, and then add that Mechazor into your deck when that dies. So you have a way to kind of get to your win con. So I really like that they're adding stuff like this, giving us more options of drawing specific cards out of our deck instead of it just being all RNG top decks all the time. Really happy about this. 100% gonna see play. Also note, like I have noted in the past, I think like 3 mechs does not add progression towards your Mechazord build. Most of these guys don't. But other than that, man, 100% gonna see play. And I don't know if I brought it up yet, but when you play cards out of when this guy summons cards, the opening gamuts don't trigger because it's not from your hand. So let's keep going. We got 2 cards left. Moving on to the big bad legendaries. There we got 2 neutral legendaries. Let's talk about the first one. Project, whatever that symbol is. So we're just gonna call him Project. So he is a 6-mana 1/1 with This minion gains +2/+2 for each other mech minion you summon this game. Okay. Okay, so first off, does not add Mechazor progression, like I said with the last few. Ideally, you want your mech pieces to immediately have impact on board. This does not. We've seen this type of card fail multiple times already. How many other cards do we have like this? I actually wrote it down. Let me see if I can find it. We have things like Calculator, which this is like a copy of. Excelsius, High Hand. Like, those are just a few that just don't. It just doesn't work. It doesn't see play. Nobody plays Excelsius. People play other things like Grandmaster or just higher end, you know, Lyonar cards. Just because these things just either they get dispelled, they're dead. You know, they like if he had a base stat of a 6/6 that maybe gained +2/+2 for each other mech minion you summon this game, this thing would see play 100%, and people would just risk it. And then if it gets dispelled, whatever, you have a 6/6. That's kind of how Excelsius is. Excelsius, out of all the other cards I named, sees the most play, but not a lot. So we'll see how this goes. Unfortunately, just Dispel, man. Dispel just wrecks so many cards that you're able to just be like, oh, you're doing that? Oh, just kidding. Lightbender, Shroud, Chromatic Hold, you know, 2 mana kills this thing off. So it feels really bad. I don't think this is going to see play. I'm just going to say that just because none of the other cards that were like this saw a bunch of play. Like, you could play this, and then next turn on 7 mana, your opponent just plays EMP and just wrecks you, and you're like, you know? Like I said, I don't think it's going to see play. I could be wrong. It kind of depends on where the meta goes. If the meta has a lot of Dispel in it, then definitely not. If it has like a okay amount, then probably not. If it has very low, then probably. But it's probably going to have a decent amount. It always does. So that's this card. Very underwhelming for a legendary. Okay. So you guys ready for probably my favorite animation from all the cards that I'm showing you guys today? And it's just badass looking. And this is the real win con in your mech deck. It's not actually Mechazor. It's probably going to be this guy. Let's talk about him. This is Silver. He's a 6 mana 7/5. Really good stats. Whenever you summon this or another mech, friendly mechs gain all keywords of other friendly mechs. What? So if you have a Mechazor on the field, which as you guys seen by all the cards we talked about today, mech's actually kind of easy to get out now. If you play a Mechazor and then you got this guy and you drop him a turn later, guess what? Now you have mini Mechazors everywhere. Good luck to your opponent after you play this. This is your actual win con in Mechazor decks. So I like this card a lot. You can actually look through, like you could look through your deck and just build it with a bunch of keywords and just drop this guy. Imagine having a cannon on the field and then you drop this guy. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy because it's just so good. It's so good. Oh, so good. I just love it. Like, there isn't a provoke one yet, a provoke mech, but there was. That'd be really cool. The thing is, it is only mech cards, so it cannot be like, you can't use other keywords from other cards in the game. So we have airdrop. We have I mean, airdrop's pretty useless. We have frenzy for sword. We have Mechazor has force field now, which is important. We have ranged. We have frenzy, and I think range and frenzy are really the big ones. I feel, and force field. So we got 3 major keywords that you could literally buff your whole team with. This card is absolutely amazing, and it's 100% going to be your win con in your deck. Let me see if I missed anything else on this guy. Other than that, man, it's just cool. Key to note before we keep moving on. Like I said, the past few guys does not add progression towards your Mechazor build, but that is all the cards I have for you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was more or less me just relaxed talking about it. Like I said, there was 2 other cards that were released that I'm not going to talk about. They weren't mech related. They're just some random cards, and we'll just see them when the expansion drops. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys hit it with a thumbs up. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of all these cards. If I missed anything on them, or you know what, if you think a certain card's good that I called bad, let me know. Let me know if you guys think of any combos. And if you guys are new, make sure you guys subscribe. Every subscription helps, man. We're getting up there, and you know what? It's just awesome. It's awesome to see all this support. But other than that, I'm your boy Colazo. Hope you guys keep on dueling. I'll see you guys next time.